Joshua Youngs with Medicare Peace of Mind. In this video, I'm going to go over several things. Biggest would be what you really need to know about Medicare Advantage, which is also known as Part C of Medicare. There's several things. The basics of it is going to be with a Part C or Medicare Advantage Plan, you have, in essence, a few parts of Medicare combined into one plan. What most folks end up getting is what's called an MAPD, or Medicare Advantage with prescription drugs, or plus drugs. And so what Medicare Advantage, in essence, does is it gives you Part A, Part B benefits, has your drug card built in, and then it'll usually have some extra benefits that you don't see above and beyond what original Medicare provides. Things like dental or vision or hearing or gym memberships or over-the-counter items or transportation, or there's a whole litany of different benefits that can be in this what's called value-added services category. And so in this value-added services category, you're going to find a litany of different extras that you see above and beyond what Medicare covers. A lot of them are going to have limitations. So it's not perfect dental coverage. It's not perfect vision coverage. It's not all the things that they lead you to believe on those commercials. It is a very, very good option for a lot of people. It does provide very, very strong benefits. What Part C Medicare Advantage often offers in many counties is low to no premium. So low to no premium. That's going to be offered. Used to be just HMOs. Now you'll find both HMO and PPO options in many areas that offer low to no premium. Some areas there are no Medicare Advantage plans. And so with Medicare Advantage plans, they are county specific. So what's available in one county can and will be different potentially than what's available in a neighboring county. And it literally will come down to if there's a county that there's a road running down the line, and people on this side of the road live in one county, and people on this side of the road live in another county. I've seen several situations where person A wants the same plan that person B has, and they can't because they're technically in different counties. And so even when it's that close, it doesn't matter. It's that black and white. There is no gray area when it comes to county availability. So what's available county-wide in your county can vary greatly. Some counties have 70, 80, 90, 100 plus options in the U.S. in some counties. Others, there's one or two or less. Sometimes there's zero. And so again, what you really need to know about Medicare Advantage plans is they provide additional benefits above and beyond what Medicare has. And so the basic rules are a few things. Has to be as good as or better than A and B. Okay, equal to or greater than A and B is what your C has to be. Greater to or equal to A and B. There's cancer is an example of a benefit where it's equal to, where on original Medicare Part B, it's 80-20 after the deductible. On a C, on cancer treatment, chemotherapy, radiation, typically there's no deductibles usually. However, you do go to an 80-20 co-insurance. So there's co-insurance and there's co-pays. Co-pays is where I'm paying a fixed dollar amount, and then the insurance company is in essence paying the rest of the contracted amount. On a co-insurance, that is where you're going to pay a percentage. So you pay a percentage of the bill, the insurance company pays a percentage of the bill. The co-pay is much more predictable. So most benefits on an Advantage plan give you that predictability of a co-pay. A lot of plans now offer low to no co-pay to go to the doctor. So you can often see a zero premium, zero co-pay to go to the doctor plan. So for a healthy person, that can be an attractive option. But there's no such thing as perfect when it comes to Medicare. There's no perfect Advantage plans. There's no perfect Medicare Supplement plans. Medicare in itself is not perfect. It was designed to be not to cover everything. It's designed to be an 80-20 model. And so when it comes to Medicare Advantage plan, networks come into play. So you have a PPO type plan. You can have an HMO type plan. You can also add at the end of them POS for what stands for point of service, not what a lot of people think that POS stands for, but point of service is what that stands for. What that would mean is you have a network of doctors that plan has contracted with. They prefer you to go there. However, you have the ability to go to any doctor that takes at the point of service Medicare, and then they would charge you at the Medicare reimbursement rate, and your plan would reimburse at the Medicare reimbursement rate. So that could leave where the and or better part of has to be as good as or better. In a situation like this, if you exercise your right to go outside the network, you would also exercise the company's right to charge you a higher copay or co-insurance percentage of that particular visit. And so you have plans that could be a point of service. You have HMOs, you can have with PPOs, you can have a local PPO, you can have a regional PPO, you can have a national PPO. There's a lot of different styles when it comes to these Advantage plans. This is the fundamental too. You also could have a private fee for service in some areas, and or potentially sometimes MSA, which is a medical savings account, which would not have a drug card included. These are the only two that you can pair with a standalone D. If you were to put a standalone D with either an HMO or PPO C, it would disenroll you from the C. Or if you're doing a C and you try to do a D on top, it would disenroll you from whatever one you're currently on. So they don't allow you to do both at the same time with CMS. So that is one of the things to be aware of. On an Advantage plan, you also have potential for risk. And so max out of pocket, the highest it can be for in-network is $6,700. Most states will have one closer to around $3,000, and then they'll have a bunch in the middle ground. Max out of pocket in a lot of situations, because you're protected with co-pays for most services, usually doesn't become an issue for most people. It's only on those benefits where you're dealing with as good as Medicare Part B, where you're dealing with an 80-20 split. Usually that's the only one of the rare times you can hit that number quickly. There are exceptions to that, but as a general rule, it's actually pretty difficult to hit your max out of pocket on the medical side. The drug side of things, again, that can always be one of your highest exposure points when it comes to Medicare is your drug coverage out of pocket. However, with an Advantage plan, you also want to make sure that all your doctors and specialists and the hospitals that you like to use are all within the in-network side of your plan. Staying on the in-network side of your plan with an Advantage plan ensures that you have the lowest possible copays available to you. So in essence, what happens with one of these plans is the insurance company goes to the doctor's offices, to the hospitals. Sometimes it's owned by a corporation, so it's on a corporate level, but they go to those entities and they negotiate a contracted price. So there's the street price, then there's that contracted price. We've all probably looked at one of what they call an explanation of benefits, says this is not a bill at the top. And there's all kinds of mumbo jumbo math is what I hear a lot. That's my favorite term. It's called mumbo jumbo math. But in essence, you have the total price, you have the network discount, which they have to write off. You have the approved charges, you have what the plan paid, and then finally what you would pay or you owe. And so I would think of that as like a medical bank statement. You want to cross-reference any bills that you receive with your explanation of benefits to make sure that you're getting charged accurately. There's probably more so with any other coverage. With Medicare Advantage plans, I'll find time and time again, there are particular providers, could be a hospital, could be a specialist, could be a regular doctor, that are overcharging, or in essence what's called balance billing, was supposed to be written off or a network discount or just not chargeable, plan disallowed charges. Basically, you want to really focus on the you pay category because you have a contract with your insurance company when you're on an Advantage plan. So there's a contract between you and the insurance company. There's also a contractual relationship between your doctor or hospital, whatever, between them and the insurance company as well, which kind of helps hold your contract in place. And so it's very critical that you cross-reference that and double-check to make sure you're not being overcharged. There's several clients I've helped over the years that have been overcharged by thousands of dollars. It does take some time to unwind and figure out all the problems in those situations, but nearly every time I've gotten involved and helped my clients with that, we've been able to get that money back in their pocket rather than at the hospital, doctor, et cetera. And so it's really critical on this kind of thing to pay attention to your out-of-pocket exposures, what insurances are accepted, and then what your financial tolerance is. And so some people prefer to spend more money on a monthly basis to have less risk on the backside of the doctor's office. Some would rather spend less money on the front side to have more risk on the backside. And so everybody has what I call a pain tolerance for financial exposure, whatever yours is, we can kind of adjust. So you have two ends of the spectrum, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, and there are lots of areas in the middle that you can kind of package together different types of coverage. You can package Medicare Advantage with a product that's designed to fill in the bigger holes, like a hospital indemnity. You can package it with a lump sum cancer to cover your cancer hole. So there are creative ways to package your coverage to fit your exposure comfort, your exposure tolerance. So you have a level of tolerance that you'll take. Obviously, we'd all love to pay zero for the plan, and we'd all love to pay zero when it comes time to go to the doctor. Most of the time, those plans don't exist unless you're in a really low income situation and qualify for Medicaid, or unless you're in a really lucky situation and you work for the government or some other entity that's paying for all of your coverage and the coverage has no out of pocket. It's a very, very rare situation. Most of us have to deal with some type of exposure point between $0 and $7,000, $10,000, whatever that number is. With the Medicare world and Medicare Advantage, again, $6,700 in network, $10,000 out of network. Are the maxes that you can see on your plans in Medicare Advantage. Another thing to know about Medicare Advantage, there is no underwriting. They do follow those election periods, IEP, ICEP, AEP, OEP, SEP. And so those all do apply to your Medicare Advantage plans. Other things with Medicare Advantage plans that you'll see what are called SNPs, or special needs plans. So SNPs, you have a few different types. You can have a D SNP, which stands for dual special needs plan. What that is for people that are Medicare and Medicaid eligible, or dual eligible. There are special needs plans in certain counties that provide a bunch of extra benefits, usually at no cost to the person, to give them a bunch of extra help. And so these are really neat plans. There's also a C SNP, which stands for chronic conditions. And so certain conditions, heart conditions, diabetes, lung issues, there's a handful of products, depending on the state you're in, depending on the county you're in, you may have a chronic special needs plan available that's designed for your special needs condition if you have one. Not all conditions are included. There are a handful of them, but it's a good idea to double check to see if one's available in your area if you do have a special needs situation, whether that's low income or with some chronic illnesses that you have a lot of maintenance and medications and other stuff for. So Medicare Advantage in general is the pay less now, low to no monthly premium, but then you take on co-pays and potential exposure, worst case scenario. Again, it's very rare to hit this. The percentage changes every year, but it's usually less than 10% of people on these plans hit this number. You have to check for your area. It varies by zip code and by plan and by company and other things like that. But it's usually a very low amount. Used to be that people with ESRD were not allowed to join an Advantage plan unless there was a special needs plan available. That did change in January of 2021. So if you or someone you know does have end-stage renal disease or ESRD, we can help someone who's sitting with no coverage and they didn't hit their window to get the med sup, that kind of thing. It's a very expensive process to go through to have dialysis all the time. And so with that, you other variables you need to know about. Again, you have to live in the county. You have to have Part A and Part B, and you must continue to pay your Part B as in Bravo premium. And so if you have a premium to pay with Part B, you must continue that because you have to have A and B to get on to a C, because C is going to take over for A and B and have to be as good as or better than. Year-to-year contracts, so one thing to be paying attention to, these plans will, they say can and will change every year. Whether it's the formulary changing and what drugs they cover on their list of drugs, whether it's this drug's on tier 1 this year, it's on tier 2 next year, or vice versa. It could be the doctor networks changing, it could be co-pays changing, it could be the max out-of-pocket changing, it could be how the extra benefits work, it could be how the gym membership works, it could be a lot of things. And so the point is, on Medicare Advantage, on all Medicare options, especially ones that have a drug component, it's very, very important to have someone you can trust to reevaluate those options for you every year. With that being said, that is what you need to know about Medicare Advantage. There are obviously other details that might be specific to the plans in your area. I would encourage you to find someone you can trust to help you look at this and all options. Excuse me, it's dangerous to have someone who pigeonholes you either one direction or the other. I only want to talk about Med Subs with you, or I only want to talk about Medicare Advantage. If you hear someone take a preference to either one of those for you before they know anything about you, that's a dangerous spot to be. No two people will have the same recommendation. Now, there might be similarities, there might be other things, but it very rarely do the variables all match up to two different people. So I very strongly encourage you to look at all of your options when it comes to evaluating your Medicare options, not just Medicare Advantage, not just Medicare supplements, but things to know about Medicare Advantage. It's very important. This obviously doesn't cover it all, but I'd be happy to take time with you at any point you'd like to go through this stuff in detail. I could talk about this all day long, as the expression goes, and I really enjoy it. And so thank you again for your time. Hopefully you learned something about Medicare Advantage plans, and we hope to see you on the next video. Thank you much for your time. Have a great day.